Welcome to This Explainer. We spend so much of our lives just running from discomfort, running from heartbreak, constantly trying to outpace anything that hurts. But today, we're diving deep into the monumental masterpiece of the great mystic Rumi, the Masnavi. And together, we're going to fundamentally reframe how we actually perceive human suffering. We're going to strip away all those superficial interpretations to understand why, surprisingly, your soul actually needs pain to achieve its ultimate destiny. What if the very thing we are so desperately running from is literally the only thing that can truly set us free? Well, let's find out.
All right, so here is our roadmap for the soul's journey today. We'll be exploring the stages of spiritual alchemy we all have to pass through, starting with the great pain illusion, then breaking the stubborn stone, the alchemy of the forge, moving into the cook and the chickpea, and wrapping up with the architecture of rebirth.
Let's jump right into Section 1, the great pain illusion, and why a totally painless life is, quite frankly, a myth.
So think about how our modern culture treats pain. We treat it like a glitch in the system, right? When a crisis hits, maybe it's a massive career setback, a scary health diagnosis, or just a really brutal heartbreak. Our very first instinct is to look up and ask, why is this happening to me? We're constantly urged to medicate it, push it away, and basically treat happiness as nothing more than the absence of discomfort. But man, when you open the Masnavi, you are stepping into a completely different dimension. Rumi absolutely flips the script. He doesn't see pain as a glitch or some kind of cosmic punishment. Actually, he sees it as a cosmic necessity. He argues that without it, you literally cannot grow. You can't wake up. Suffering isn't a wall keeping you away from peace. It is the absolute prerequisite for it. It's the very door through which the light enters.
That brings us right into Part 2, breaking the stubborn stone, and understanding what mystical thinkers call the disease of complacency.
To a casual observer, a life crisis always feels like the ultimate enemy. But these experts of Islamic mysticism, they diagnose our greatest spiritual disease totally differently. It's not suffering that's the disease, it's complacency, it's rigidity. Rumi defines the comfortable human ego as being cold, hard, and unyielding. Basically, he compares it to a stubborn, frozen stone. Now just think about your own comfort zones for a second. Left completely alone, a stone feels absolutely zero pain. It stays perfectly intact, safe, and entirely undisturbed for hundreds of years. And yeah, you might feel safe when you never take a risk, or when you refuse to open your heart or challenge your own beliefs. But because that state is completely impenetrable, it also means there's absolutely no growth. It remains entirely 100% barren.
Which leads Rumi to ask this devastatingly simple but brilliant question. Has anyone ever seen a garden bloom on a solid rock? Obviously not. To grow a lush, vibrant garden, that hard, safe ground can't just sit there undisturbed. It has to be violently plowed. It gets cut open, broken apart, and turned completely upside down. Think about a time you were totally devastated by a failure or a sudden loss. It felt like your whole world was ending, didn't it? But Rumi is telling us that those heartbreaks, that heavy grief, those existential trials, they are the cosmic plow. The pain isn't there to destroy you. It's destroying your rock-like rigidity so that the hidden seeds of who you really are can finally sprout.
Next up is Phase 3, the alchemy of the forge, where we really get into the process of burning away the rust.
So here, Rumi introduces this incredible alchemical framework, using the metaphor of a blacksmith and a piece of iron. Just imagine a raw chunk of iron getting tossed into a scorching hot furnace. If that iron could speak while it's being subjected to that insane heat and those heavy hammer strikes, it would probably scream out in total agony. Why do you hate me? Why are you burning and beating me?
But here is where the magic happens, because the blacksmith's process is a perfect mirror for the trials in our own lives. The blacksmith obviously doesn't hate the iron. He's just executing a very precise 3-step process. Step 1 is that scorching furnace. Rumi points out that honestly, your soul is exactly like that raw iron. Left to its own devices, it's kind of dull, rusted, and shapeless. The intense heat of suffering, those periods where everything in your life feels like it's burning down, that heat is specifically designed to burn away the rust of pride, greed, and egoism. Then step 2 takes us to the anvil, enduring the heavy hammer blows of destiny. These relentless blows, the challenges that just keep knocking you down, they are exactly what gives your character its edge, its resilience, and its spiritual polish. And finally, step 3 is the polish itself, transforming what was once a totally useless lump of metal into a beautiful, sharp sword. Without the terrifying fire and those brutal blows, your soul just stays crude and shapeless forever.
Now let's see how this all builds in Section 4, the cook and the chickpea. This is all about assimilating the spirit.
This has to be one of the most famous, humorous, and yet deeply profound stories in the entire third book of the Masnavi. It's the perfect bridge for understanding these massive concepts. So Rumi describes a cook tossing some raw chickpeas into a pot of boiling water, and as the water heats up, the suffering chickpeas start physically resisting. They're jumping up to the rim of the pot, totally panicking, crying out, "Why did you buy us and throw us into this torture? What did we do to deserve this boiling heat?" Because they can't see the final delicious meal they're going to become, they resist the pain and try frantically to escape. And what does the cook do? He just gently but very firmly pushes them back down into the boiling water with his large wooden ladle.
Then, the cook reveals the cosmic law to them. He says, "Look, I am not boiling you out of anger. Let's break this down. In this metaphor, the boiling pot represents the world of matter and time. The raw chickpea? That's us, the human ego. And the cook is cosmic law itself." The cook explains that the boiling is just a necessary process of assimilation. We get boiled by life's difficulties, so our raw, hard nature breaks down. That allows us to absorb the water, blend with the spices, and ultimately become true nourishment for the higher, living human spirit. It's such a brilliant way to understand that our spiritual maturity absolutely requires us to, well, boil well. It isn't a punishment at all. It's just a required transition into a totally higher state of consciousness.
And that profound realization brings us right to our final section, the architecture of rebirth. It's time to build the divine palace.
Okay, here's the dangerous yet completely liberating truth of this entire explainer. If you are sitting around waiting for a life without pain before you can finally find peace, you are going to be waiting forever. Rumi never promised us a painless path, but he did promise a deeply meaningful one. Think about it like this. Pain acts as the cosmic architect of your transformation. Yes, it violently dismantles the old, ruinous hut of your comfortable ego. And yeah, that hurts. It completely shatters the illusions we cling to. But it does this so that a magnificent divine palace can be built on that exact same ground. So honestly, do not pray for an easy life. You have to let the stone break. Let the iron burn. Let the chickpea boil. Because this painful, relentless destruction is exactly what constructs your spiritual maturity. On the other side of that suffering is where you discover your true, immortal self.
This whole crucial point is perfectly captured in what is probably Rumi's most famous realization. The wound is precisely where the light enters you. As we move forward through our own trials, we really have to stop cursing our wounds. We have to start recognizing them, not as punishments, not as some cosmic mistake or an unfair burden, but as the absolute necessary thresholds to the divine.
So, I want to leave you with a question to reflect on for your own journey. What fire are you walking through right now? Remember to look beneath the ruins of whatever struggles you're facing today, because the heat you're feeling, it's just the forging of your magnificent self. If this deeper look into the alchemy of pain resonated with you, please hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and definitely share your thoughts in the comments below. Keep seeking, and we'll see you in the next explainer.